Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Homebrew, and I'm your host, Jason Petros, a.k.a. Captain American Handsome Man Boy.
Shirt man.
Yeah, I'm also skeleton shirt. Hey, man, it's Halloween season. I got my spoopy shirts on, and, feeling good about it.
It's not even October.
Well, as far as the recording date of the show, yes, you're correct. But the release date, Warren, it's almost Halloween.
Hey, this weekend is Oktoberfest.
See, there you go. It's my Oktoberfest T-O-B-E-R shirt. It's my October shirt.
Okay. German skull.
Yeah, that's right. As you just hear, Warren is our special guest judge because Brian Shar can't manage his calendar for shit.
I definitely am special.
That's true. Hi, Warren. How are you?
Oh, hi, Jason.
What are
I'm
your
doing great.
Credentials?
What are you? Yeah, why are you here? What are your credentials? He was coming here to mop up the foam.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, it was very much like UHF, and you're our Stanley Spadowski.
I thought you were looking for somebody with no qualifications.
Yeah,
to
you
come
want
in here and judge beer.
Hey, Stanley, you're the host now. Oh, do you mean it, George? Can I still mop the floors?
Yeah, so I finished with the floors.
Okay.
So I figured I'd
Now
try
you're
to have
here.
a beer.
All right. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you are very welcome.
And
He makes beer with the mopping residue.
Right.
that's true.
That's actually how I make it.
Yeah.
I just mop it up with my beard and then wring it into a glass.
We're not going to waste this.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Warren, to indulge us in your homebrew knowledge.
Oh, yeah, I used to do that at one point.
Indulge us or have homebrew knowledge?
Yes.
Same.
I am sipping a far-ranging beer that has come all the way from the great state of Minnesota. It is a Surly Todd the Axeman.
Good
On
stuff.
draft
yeah.
here at the Hop Grenade.
Nice. Excellent. All right, we have two beers for you as usual. We have a Vienna Lager, and then we have a BDSM. What is it, Brian?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
The Belgian Dark Strong Ale.
Belgian Dark Strong Ale.
2016. We're actually going to be starting with that. We're going to start heavy tonight.
I'm in for that. I like starting heavy. I like heavy things, man.
Metal.
Like life.
Do you like life?
I love life, man.
Oh,
well, I
okay.
tolerate life, and then
It doesn't tolerate you
It
very
doesn't.
well.
No, it doesn't really tolerate. I'm trying to be a nicer person, which is cool. I
It's
guess
good to have goals.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I've already broken most of things in my life. Might as well break more goals. Now, I found this worm on my my tomato plants today. Apparently, it's called a tobacco hookworm, and the thing is huge. It's like 4 inches long. I was, it holding on upside down to this branch of my tomato plant, and then when I approach it, it stops eating. And just stops, and it has these eye-like things on the side of its head, and I feel it looking at me, and I'm like, I'm watching too many horror movies because I really expect its head just to turn slowly with maybe a little click or a creak, and then to launch into my eye socket and burrow through my anus.
It'd be your new best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
cool.
expecting, but it didn't. Anyway, so I'm like, oh, I should kill this thing. I'm like, no, why would I do that? I'm trying to be gentler, so I let it eat like a big old branch of food, and then I clipped the branch off and carried it over to my weeds across the yard.
Eat my tomato plant.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm
eat
like,
that
if you're
stuff.
gonna eat some shit, you might as well be useful.
Well, it's nice that you forewent food for your family, so that way this little worm could survive.
Tomorrow you'll find that thing right back on your tomato
Oh yeah,
plant.
it went
It'll
right
be
back to your other tomato plants.
I
sucking on
hope
the
so.
tomatoes.
Well, and then I was like, well, there's more holes in. I felt like someone on CSI, because I'm like, well, this plant or this worm just eats like the actual leaf, like just whole, digests it. And then on other plants, I have like holes in leaves. So what's going on? So I start looking around, and there's little poops everywhere. I start looking around. I have a ton of worms, like ton of caterpillars on the rest of my tomato plants. I cut 6 off in 5 minutes, and I know there's more.
So do you have a caterpillar sanctuary going on?
Well, no, those I ate. I fried them up, and no, I just cut the leaf that they were on, and then threw it like in the dead zone of my garden. So at least they have some food, and then they can fend for themselves.
And then they get exercise to get back to the rest of the plants.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about them.
That's good.
Yeah. It was weird, man. I don't know. It's just gardens are weird.
The tobacco one had a giant spike on the end. Did you
Yeah.
have to keep that away from Alice?
It's a hornworm, a hookworm, or hornworm.
Horny hookworm.
Yeah.
Does it did it try to stab you with it like a scorpion?
No, it didn't. It didn't really do anything. But while we're sitting here before the show started, I'm like showing Warren, and I'm looking up on Wikipedia while Warren's working. Weird. And it was like they eat tobacco plants and tomato plants. And then with the tobacco plants, they metabolize the tobacco, the nicotine in the tobacco, right? Mm-hmm. And they send it through from their gut to like this gland or something, and then they release the nicotine into the air around them, and that keeps them protected from like spiders and stuff like that.
So you can vape off of those things?
That's right.
Their defense is secondhand smoke.
The defense of secondhand smoke.
that's
It's
crazy.
called like toxic halitosis, which I've definitely been next to a few people at a bar that must be hookworms in disguise. It's pretty bad.
Just imagine if you lit it, if you smoked it.
I kind of want to.
So they chew the tobacco plant and then they hollow out your tomatoes and
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
is that
right.
what they do?
And just fart
And they
nicotine.
butt it out, dude. Yeah, it was crazy. Anyway, let's call Ken, shall we?
Sure.
All right. And he has the BDSM, right?
Belgian,
Mm-hmm.
strong sadomasochist. Yeah.
All right.
Something.
Sounds good. Ken, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Oh,
Good,
wow.
not too bad. We've talked to you before. How's it going?
Oh, it was the best evening of my life.
What, being on this program?
Oh, you can't. Yes.
Damn, boy. All right. Well, hey, man, you're welcome. Not many people get to relive the glory days, but you do.
Absolutely.
Remind us, man, are you in a homebrew club? Because Brian Shar's not here to scream it out at inappropriate times.
Hey, are you in a homebrew club?
That's right. And yes, I have not over mineralized my beer either.
Oh,
Oh, good.
well, that's good
Which is-
news.
That's the other thing he says every time.
It's just what a judge says when you can't think what else might be wrong with the
That's
beer.
true. Yeah.
It's a little trick, you know.
He messed up somewhere.
Must be the minerals.
Because they're not going to know. You know, you're not going to know, right?
It's all about the
That's
minerals,
right.
baby.
All right, Ken, tell me about this beer, man.
Well, let me tell you about my homebrew club. I'm in the Star City Homebrew Club, a homebrew guild out of Roanoke, Virginia,
Okay.
and we're amazing.
Done.
The amazing Star City.
Sold. I kind of want to join now.
I gave you the whole spiel last
Very
time,
skilled.
so I'll cut it shorter this
I
time.
appreciate that. I appreciate
All right.
that. What's up with this beer? Have you brewed a Belgian dark strong before?
This is we do quarterly competitions, and this is a quarterly competition beer we did, or we're actually doing in December, and I brewed it about 6 months ago, and it's 10%, and I think it's really been improving as it's been conditioning. So I'm
Awesome.
excited to see what you guys think about it.
Excellent. And have you already entered this into your club comp?
That'll be in December, so
It'll be
we'll
in
see
December,
what
okay.
all our rookie judges think compared to what you guys think.
That's right. Well, we have one grandmaster judge and one walking
Rookie.
carpet. Yeah. So between the two of them, they'll figure it out. I'm sure.
Rookie Wookie.
That's right. This
Yeah,
is mine.
that's
All
a,
right.
that's a nice beard he's got going on there.
Yeah. Not too bad. Don't give him a big
Don't
head
fear
about
the
it.
beard.
Yeah. All right, Brian Cooper, please
Okay.
start us off here, and we'll follow up with the lackluster Warren.
Okay, so I am reading through my judging notes from 1 month ago when we initially judged this beer. Brian and I judged it separately.
I'm interested to hear how if it
And,
changes.
Yeah,
If anything changes.
I'd asked him to send me his sheet because he's not able to be with us tonight because we're all ready for this one. But anyway, it's had a nice fill, a good strong hiss when it opened. Malty and fairly fruity up front in the nose. The malt smells like dark bread crusts and pleasant and clean. The esters are low and muted. Fairly faint dried cherry-like aroma in there. No hops to note. Didn't get any DMS or diacetyl. Seemed pretty clean. A moderate and very prickly alcohol there poking through. And I would say that it might have smoothed out a little bit because I'm not getting quite as much of that biting, that sharp, like, oh man, there's a little sharp alcohol in
There's
there.
some boozy.
But it is still a little boozy. It's not a wimpy beer by any stretch of the imagination. So appearance-wise, it's a nice deep, coppery, dark amber colored beer. When I poured it initially, the head had kind of some just kind of crackly sounding bubbles. They just settled out very quickly to kind of a swirling ring around the edge of the glass. And the beer I find to be quite hazy, and even still, even after settling for a month, it's not settled. It's pretty hazy. It should be a little clearer than that. Sure, it can have some yeast in there, especially if you get anywhere near the dregs on a bottle of this stuff. I imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe bottle condition. I'm not sure. I didn't really check. It's hard to see in the bottom there, but we can chat about that. Flavor wise, it is kind of toasty and fruity. Had a kind of perfumey note to it that lingers on the tongue. There's kind of this interesting little edge to it, and that's kind of still there. And went up into my sinuses. It was almost, at that time, I would say it was almost furniture polish, but I'm not really getting so much of that anymore.
Like a pledge, like a lemony.
Not like a lemony furniture polish, but it's kind of like a oil, like a Murphy's oil soap. Kind
Okay.
of like I regularly gargle furniture polish, so I'm quite a connoisseur when it comes to that.
Is that a part of the master judge certification program?
Yes.
Totally ruin your tongue, then you can't taste anymore.
You have to recite hop character of Cascade with a mouthful of Murphy's. But I've
still something just a little.
I've used that before on like my old house. We had hardwood floors, and I would use that a lot. So I see what you're saying. It's like a crystal malt
Old English
thing or something like that. Yeah.
There's some. It's really, it doesn't taste that solvent or anything like that, but it is. I think it's maybe some combination of the alcohol and the malts that's giving it an interesting edge like that. There's some orangey and cherry-like esters here.
It is interesting.
Definitely balanced to the malt. The finish is quite dry. There's not a lot of sweetness here, there's some higher alcohols in there too. But it seems mostly clean and smooth. Otherwise, it's an interesting. The aroma was fairly promising, and the flavor had some interesting notes in there that played off of those, and going back and forth. It's that nice dark bread crust is still there in the nose, and but I think it is smoothing out a little bit as it ages for sure. So, if it's being judged in a couple more months or something in the late fall or the winter, that might be cool.
Yeah, I think you said December.
But there's a little solventy here, I would say. Mouthfeel wise, it's pretty highly carbonated, medium high, I guess. But it blew off really quickly, leaving kind of a solventy, slight heat. Not very creamy, smooth. It's a little bit biting, but still not really astringent either at all. There's maybe a low malt kind of bite, but it's kind of medium full bodied, and overall, I'd say it's a fairly good Belgian dark strong with a lot going for it. But some of the elements that were detracting for me were just a bit odd, and it's freshly stained kind of wood notes emerging in the nose. What's going on here? But those have smoothed out, subsided a little bit, and I think it's just some sharp things when it was younger, maybe. And I'd like to find out, if you had just made it when we judged it back in August. So definitely the age is helping it. There's some solventiness here that in higher alcohols, so just a little bit over the top. And if you clean those up a bit and make this a lot better beer, they're really taking over here. Otherwise, it's not a bad example of the style. I think that just with this style, you need to really go crazy with massive yeast pitch, taking care of your yeast, making sure that it's healthy and vigorous, viable, happy. That you bring it warm towels and whatever it wants, you give it, and
kiss
give
it on the bottom every night.
Build a little beach for it, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's not a really good tip, is it?
Well, I mean,
it is a resort for. I'm imagining a yeast resort where all the yeast would hang out. And there's like sugar everywhere. They're just
It
like,
would be in the Maldives.
yeah.
Maldives.
At the time I gave it
It is very...
a 29, but I think that was a little harsh.
Yeah.
But there was some sharper things poking through at the time, and when I'm tasting it now, just when we opened it and I started tasting it, I'm like, this is probably more like 33 now to me.
Okay.
It's not. It's very good. It's just the higher alcohol is still there, and I don't know that that's going to subside too much over the course of the next couple of months. There's something definitely really hot. It's not just warm; it's warming and boozy all the way down the throat. So, yeah, just the flavor and the bite of some solventy higher alcohols and alcoholic. Just
Okay.
boom.
Very good. Warren?
Yeah. I didn't get to taste it 2 different ages, but
Well, we're higher level than you
right,
are.
yes,
over here.
understandably so.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with pretty much everything that Brian just said. To me, I really liked the yeast character. I thought the balance of esters and phenols and everything worked really well all the way through, aroma, flavor, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely was hot even in the aroma, and a little solventy, kind of like acetone nail polish.
Yeah.
Slight nail polish remover, slight thing going on there. And as far as all the good things, I echoed Brian. And I ended up giving it a 31.
Did you give some of that orangey fruitiness in there? It's just like this, like almost like those orange candy chews, like just, and maybe some cherry and other kinds
I
of.
definitely got cherry.
Fruit bowl kind of,
Yeah, definitely got cherry and some sweet, kind of candied fruit.
Yeah,
type,
like a candied
type
fruit
situation
thing.
going on there.
Exactly.
I don't know that I'd necessarily pick out orange.
Not like sharp, bright
Yeah.
oranges, but it's like maybe
But I really enjoy the malt character,
Mhm.
and so I think if you can just rein in the fermentation, like Brian said, just take care of the yeast, make sure it's got all the nutrient it needs.
What are the water minerals?
it seems like it
I'm
was.
just kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bottled well. Is this bottle conditioned, Ken?
Yeah, this is bottle conditioned.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with both of you guys. It's in my mind, it's not a Belgian dark strong.
It's strong.
Yeah, it's strong, but what it is still really good.
Yeah.
It's like in the Belgian dark strongs that I've had, they aren't that kind of candied orangey, darker toned crystal malt like this one is, and I bet it's the kind of yeast that use or esters or whatever, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it's not as like, I don't know, rounded or focused as Belgian dark strong should be. But what you've made is a tasty beer, and the flavor combinations that you have somehow magically through this still are very good.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to. I don't know why I felt like stressing that, but it's the solvency aside, like. Those combos of flavors I haven't had in a Belgian dark strong, it's good. I like it. I thought it was pretty good. Let's talk about your recipe real fast. Ken, you want to take us through that?
Sure. Let's see. I started with 14 pounds of Pilsen, a pound and a half of Munich, a pound and a half of Golden Naked Oats, a half a pound of Cara Munich, and a half a pound of Special B.
It's for a 5-gallon batch. Sure.
Let's see, 1 ounce of Magnum at 60 minutes, and that was all the hops. And then 1 pound of Belgian candy syrup D45 and another pound of Belgian candy syrup D90.
Yeah, I bet that Special B and those two dark candy sugars are throwing those kind of candied orange kind of things.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it.
And a little toffee
Yeah.
type character.
Yeah. What yeast did you
apparently
use?
put a pound of turbinado or like another sugar in there. So there's 3 pounds of sugars in there as well.
God bless.
Wow.
What's your batch size?
It's like a 5.5 pound batch.
5-gallon.
Okay.
And I used Belgian ale yeast from Y Yeast 1214 with a 2-liter starter.
Okay.
That's a good starter. I mean, it's a good size.
Any nutrients in the starter?
I put a teaspoon of Y yeast nutrient in with 15 minutes, and I'm sure I put some in the starter also.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're right there with the
This may
answers.
have gotten, I kind of wanted to get a good Belgian character out of it, so I may have let the fermentation get warm. I'm usually pretty conservative. I don't like to get it above 70, and I think I let it get 73, 74 in this case. And maybe maybe it was too much. Maybe that's why, because I agree it's a little bit solventy, but it's really changed. I think I made this. It's been like 7 months now, and when I first made it, it had a smokiness.
Wow.
That I didn't think should be there, and I was kind of wondering.
You know what?
Yeah,
I have a note in my sheet here. I was like, there's something in there that, and to me, it came across as a very light roastiness or ashiness. There was something generally spicy about it, and some kind of phenolics in there that were bothering me a little bit.
I definitely got some spice.
It's almost
and
like
they're there
the
still, but just lighter
much
now.
less than it used to be.
Yeah, it's almost like an oxidized clove or or like a hickory something.
To me, I just assumed that was just a nice phenol from the Belgian yeast, but it didn't stand out as off-putting to me in this version.
Oh, it can be kind of gnarly. You can get some interesting.
I could see how if it was younger and more intense, for sure. It would be off-putting.
Yeah, it's definitely improved, and I'm hoping that it's got 2 more months to improve a little more.
Oh, definitely, for sure. My gut feeling is that Ken has too much sugar. What do you guys think? Should he replace some of that sugar with like malt sugar or DME even? I mean, that's 3 pounds of sugar in a 5-gallon batch.
Turbinado.
Would that be throwing any sort of solventy sort of deals?
Well, how many yeast packets did you say you did with a starter? You just said a 2-liter starter, but do you know how many packets you started with?
I mean, I started with one.
One?
And just made a nice big starter. I think I had plenty of, I use Beersmith, and it tells me how much to make, and I think I had enough yeast. Whether I took care of it enough, I'm not sure. If I may have let it get a little hot or something like that.
With the viability that I would get with my vials and smack packs, I would always basically double what the calculators would say in order to make sure, especially with a big beer like this, you definitely want to make sure you're throwing in more than enough yeast.
It's kind of hard to overpitch on one of these beers for a 10%er.
Yeah, when it's this strong of a beer, you might be messing with the phenol ester balance, but I think you're better safe than sorry when it's coming to a strong ale.
Yeah, but I don't think, to JP's question, I don't think that the sugars are going to be throwing all the higher alcohols so much. Although sometimes the yeast can get lazy, but I mean, that yeast says 68 to 78, so going up into the 70s a little ways shouldn't hurt it too bad if you're not way up in the upper.
I don't know. I just feel like turbinado sugar.
Yeah,
that's not
90 and then 40.
Turbinado, that's the only sugar that's in Beersmith.
Okay.
It's
it's
similar
Demerara sugar,
molasses sugar.
Okay. Like Demerara sugar. That's not molasses sugar, but
no.
I think that might be what I'm getting as some of the harsher flavors. The woody, furniture-y kind of thing, Yeah.
Do you know what grade of molasses it was?
It's not molasses specifically. It's a sugar called succinate, which is kind of like.
You just hit on me, Ken.
Kiss your mother with that.
It's got some of that molasses left over from the process of making the
succinate. Yeah, I mean that's basically Demerara sugar or
similar,
or turbinado even too, right? But I'm trying to look it up right now, and the only thing I see is it's fucking French or something like that.
Pretty sure I'm looking up too. It says homebrewers who use this are geniuses.
Damn, bro.
Okay.
And I think someone's hacked your router.
I think backing off on the sugars though might be not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, because
bump up the body a little bit.
Well, I mean it's 3 darker sugars.
Yeah. Don't get rid of the syrups, but
no, but I mean, should he lighten them up? Do you think? I mean, I feel like there's some component about the sugars that it's just too much with the special B
No.
I don't know. I feel like you go dark with the grains and then maybe on like lighter sugars. That's what I'm feeling. I don't know. I haven't made a Belgian dark strong in probably 10 years, so I have no. And it sucked when I made it, but
So listen to JP.
So listen to me. But I don't know. Look, all I'm here to do is just to throw the question out and let you guys prove me right.
I did the opposite when I did a couple Belgian dark strongs at home. I would do the dark syrup to get the color and stick with the lighter malts. In general, I'm not the biggest Special B fan.
Yeah.
So that's really where you went wrong.
Well, I mean, I wonder if this Special B is throwing some of that orangey thing, because I know if you use too much, it does get weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of this helps you at all in your next iteration of this, but
Is this one you have done multiple times, or is this a first time?
Oh no, this is my first time, and I'm sure I stole some recipe off Zymergy and tweaked it a little bit to make it my own. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised how fruity it is now, and I kind of like that. But we'll see what really the only judges I at the end of the day I care about are my homebrew clubs, who are gonna all give this a 45, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you'll have to let us know how it does.
Yeah. Make sure they're sufficiently blasted beforehand.
Yeah. Not that you care what we think about it.
That's right. Do you have any?
do.
Do you have any questions for these guys, Ken?
Yeah, I do actually want to ask you. So I've started judging myself about a year and a half ago and just became certified.
Oh, congrats, man.
Nice.
Don't judge yourself too harshly.
One thing that's I've always been curious about is that I never see a beer getting above a 42 or a 43 is just like outstanding.
Yeah.
Like, do beers ever get like near perfect scores? Like, is there a perfect beer that you would give a 45, 50 or something like that?
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite?
Yeah. In
I've
any
seen
category.
I've seen a 49, and it was a consensus score between two judges. And I tasted that it wasn't a beer. It was a
7-Up.
it was just 7-Up.
Four Loko.
No, it was actually a Perry, traditional Perry.
Oh, okay.
Just mind-blowingly good.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the cider guys might rate a little higher, because I know I've gotten 47, 48s on the cider side.
Oh, geez.
And I'm pretty sure I've gotten at least one, if not two 46s on the beer side. So they do happen.
Well, I know, Brian, you've given out, I think we gave out like a 44 once or 45.
Yeah, we get up there sometimes.
Yeah. It does happen, man. I'm in the same boat as you, Ken, where it's like I can't get, I got out of like the high 30s once. You know, I think I got like a 41 is the highest I've ever gotten, and you know, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't advance anything. So, it's hard to believe that they're even out there, the unicorns of the homebrewing world, but people do it.
I've even judged a couple, the Virginia Craft Beer Show, which is the commercial beer, and the North Carolina Craft Beer Show, and even commercial beers, no one's giving 45s and 50s to those beers. So I'm just like, I want that unicorn. I want to taste it.
Do you think people are being too harsh?
I kind of wonder if we
as a judge, right? I mean,
I think we bias. You know, we all believe that there must be a better beer coming, so we never want to give too high of a score.
Yeah, Brian, do me a favor. Give Ken some sage advice right now about judging. What's your top piece of advice?
Just number one, don't be solely just a fault finder. Like, oh, this beer has a tiny little this. It should be, knocked down into the 20s because of that little tiny defect. Use the scoring guide as your spirit guide. If it's, exemplifies the style well, requires minor fine tuning, it should be a 38 to 44. If it's generally within style parameters, some minor flaws, then it's 30 to 37. A minor flaw can knock it down into the lower mid 30s. It's not, the beer has to be damn near perfect to get an outstanding. It's just world-class example of the style towards the best beer you've ever had in your life. That doesn't happen every day, but, I want to leave room for that. Yeah, I would score a beer 47, 48, 49. I don't know. I know people that have scored a beer a 50 before, and they felt it deserved it. Wow, I wish I'd been there.
What's
Yeah.
your highest
Yeah.
that you've ever given out?
Probably 47, something like that.
47.
I think Jamil's given a 50 once. I think he said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know Jamil. Jamil verbally told me that my Kolsch was a 50 when he had it.
No, he told me my stout was a 55. So.
Oh wow! Look at you.
Yeah.
I told him to be honest, and he was like, "Well, there's nothing I would change about it, so I guess it's a 50."
I guess. See, that's it. When Jamil says that he guesses, it's not. Don't take anything away. Anything else, Ken, or we'll let you go.
Oh, no, that's great. Thanks for
Cool.
judging my beers, and
of course.
look forward to watching the rest of your show.
Hell yeah.
I'll be happy to give you some more judging advice online as you get into off on this adventure. Feel free to hit me up for thoughts and philosophy. I just love typing. It's fun.
He does. He likes to
Right.
email.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I type back and
Yeah.
forth with these people. If anyone wants to get a beer on our show,
These people.
I am Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com. It's Brian spelled the right way with an I. And you can get your beer on our show.
Drawing
That's right.
that line in the
Hit me up.
sand.
That's right. All right, we're going to take a quick break here, everybody, and then we're going to come back. We're going to judge another beer, and then we're going to take another break, and then we're going to talk some more, and then we're going to let you go. So that's what we do, and hold on for it.
I'm
to the examination.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us, everybody. Dr. Homebrew, about to break into this Vienna Lager. Actually, we'll just do that right now. And let me get Rich on the phone. And we're going to talk to him about his homebrew. And we're going to drink it. And then we're going to laugh at each other's butts.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Drink
Yeah.
and look at each other, not say anything.
That's true.
You have to watch the live stream to know what we're thinking about this beer.
That's right. Rich, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. How are you guys?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Hard to beat this. We're just drinking homebrew and talking to homebrewers. You know what I'm trying to say?
Hey, I love it.
I know.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for sending in beer. So, do me a favor. How long have you been homebrewing? Tell us a little bit about your background and
Well,
what made you brew this beer.
Yeah, I actually started home brewing in the early 90s. And I didn't really stick with it, had life. And
Yeah.
so then
You had life?
What's
yeah,
that?
I've
life
had the
going
case of
on
that
with
lately
family
myself.
and stuff like that. So I had a kid and had a career and still do.
Okay.
But anyway, I've got more time on my hands now that, and I've kind of in the last few years just re-gotten into it.
Awesome.
And then,
Well, welcome back.
yeah, and it also turns out that looking into my heritage, I've got brewers in the family going way back to Oslo, Norway. So that was
Oh, wow.
kind of another instigation to get back into it.
Do you have any old recipes in the family that you're using or trying to translate or whatever?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah.
But no.
All right. Well, they probably sucked anyway, right? I mean, let's be honest.
There's a reason they stopped.
Yeah. Right. There's a reason they stopped homebrewing.
Did they use Quebec yeast?
That's right. Exactly.
So we are doing a Vienna Lager here. Have you brewed a Vienna before?
No, this is my first one.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Warren,
Yes.
why don't you, first of all, we should ask Rich if he's offended that Brian Schauer isn't here and that if it's okay if Warren takes his place and judges his beer.
I'd be honored if Warren would
Wow.
taste and judge my beer.
Honored. Definitely not the direction I was hoping that would go.
No, you were caught off guard by that
I
answer.
definitely was. If I wasn't sitting down, I would have fallen right back.
Right.
Go
All right.
ahead, Warren. Please start us off here, unless you need Brian to go.
Well, Brian
No,
writes a lot
so-
more eloquently than I do, so.
You can be just as
He's also
eloquent.
taller than you.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got everything going for him. He's a total package.
That's true.
Go
Go ahead, Warren.
So I thought the aroma on this beer was really nice. Very malty up front. Little hints of toast and caramel. I didn't get really any hop aroma, but very clean fermentation. Very clear appearance as well. Nice copper color with a off-white head that has some staying power. Even with my oily mustache, there's still a bit of foam
Okay.
on the beer.
All right.
The flavor was not as complex and intense as the aroma for me. Still a nice dry finish. Slight bias towards the bitterness, which is not necessarily out of style, but the bitterness had a harshness to it that I'm not sure what the cause was. It didn't seem like it was too many IBUs or anything, but I don't know if it was a mineral issue or maybe just the hop variety. It was coming across a bit aggressive to me for the style.
Okay.
The mouthfeel was definitely on the lighter side for the style, like almost borderline thin for me, but still had a nice creamy character to it, nice carbonation.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought the beer was well done. I definitely would not be disappointed with it if I had ordered it at a bar.
Right.
Right.
So I gave it a 36.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
All right, Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, want to echo a lot of the same things here. Just a nice toasty malt up front with the bread crust-like notes. Seems very cleanly lagered. The nose, again, I agree, was just beautiful. just a little low spicy hop in the background. No esters noted, no DMS or diacetyl, acetaldehyde, any of those. Just clean and inviting. I really like the aroma. And I really also like the appearance. It's a beautiful, deep amber, very clear, some kind of orangey highlights, a very finely formed head of creamy, fine off-white bubbles that persisted well. So, yeah, good job there. Flavor-wise, I do agree that when it hit the flavor, there's something that it's the flavor. Don't get me wrong; these are fine points, but the flavor is good. It wasn't like the promise of that aroma was a little, slightly tarnished when I got to that flavor, and it wasn't like, oh my God, this is horrible. There's something really wrong with it. But I'm trying to pick out what it is. So again, pleasant malty rich beer with toast, a hint of sweetness.
It tastes sort of like Splenda.
Like artificial sweetener thing.
Yeah, it's that kind of like weird sweet
Like
to
odd
it.
sweetener thing.
Yeah,
So, that's
like a
interesting.
sweet
There's
and
something-
low.
an edge to it that is, a little different. It finishes semi-dry, kind of a medium-low bitterness, just enough to balance there. And the balances to malt. So I felt like I got some tiny hints of some stone fruit character in there, and there's kind of a sharp malt thing in the aftertaste, and I think it's coming from the malt, whatever that is, along with maybe kind of a bit of a minerally bite that's playing off the malt and the bittering hops in kind of an odd way there. So, but otherwise, it's a nice clean lager and very enjoyable and drinkable. Mouthfeel wise, medium body, just a touch of a biting, kind of greeny, just very light astringency. Not like wow, that's harsh and extremely biting, but it's not like this beer should be smooth, really just a smooth lager, just feels smooth on the tongue and go down super easy. I'm holding the sheet right in front of the camera. Bevo hates me right now.
Yeah.
It's not very creamy as
Right
I would
now?
like it to be, and just there's no alcohol warmth, shouldn't have any of that. Medium carbonation where it should be. So yeah, overall it's just a very enjoyable Vienna Lager. Very excellent malt character, especially in the nose. Super inviting aroma overall. It's just something a bit rougher than hoped in the flavor and the mouthfeel. And again, these are just fine points, but because overall it is very good. On the higher end of very good for me. I landed at a 37 on this one. So yeah, it's this you could enter this in competition. You could rebrew this, and I don't know. I'd like to know what you did with your water, or if you have any thoughts on what might be and ingredients, what might be poking out there in the flavor. So can we talk about your recipe?
Yeah, I guess I'll start off. I was worried that it would suck a lot worse with shipping it in the heat wave.
Yeah, there's that story.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just as a quick caveat, when these beers arrived on my porch, it took about a minute for me to go get them. And I picked up the box, and it was in the full sun, but I'm like, okay, whatever. I take them out, and I'm unpackaging them because I know it's really hot. And the bottles are warm to the touch. And whenever you have a warm beer bottle that's warm to the touch, you're in trouble. So I got my laser surface thermometer out, and I pinned it against the bottle, and it was 96 degrees.
So kudos to your packaging, because I don't get any oxidation or
Yeah, or like
severe
raising
that.
right. There's not a whole lot of heat
paper.
damage kind of thing coming through. Although maybe we are seeing that, and we just haven't seen it displayed in these sort of ways, like the weird sugar, the weird pokey bits.
Yeah.
But you would have you had to tell me twice that this was a heat damaged beer, because.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think the liquid was inside of that stupid thing?
Yeah.
It was at least 96.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, I was worried because I was listening today to an old interview with Charlie Bamsford,
Yeah.
and he was one of the things he was saying is the one most important thing about stale beer and stuff is and oxidation is make sure you package it and you control the temperature. And so I was going, oh no.
Yeah. Drinking it right.
So I got to be.
Real fast, it almost has like a cidery thing, and when I'm smelling it, I can smell a little like green apple. So I wonder if it's just a fermentation thing that maybe combined with the heat is sort of throwing this weird But anyway, I've interrupted Rich
yeah.
enough. Tell us about your recipe.
Okay, so we're about 70% Vienna malt and 20% Pilsner, 2-row, and 5% Munich. And then I had a little bit, 8 ounces of Melanoiden malt, 4 ounces Carafa 3. So that's my grain bill.
Are they
the hop?
Is it
that?
German malt or is it U.S.?
They're all Wireman.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're all German. Hop schedule is had a ounce and a quarter of Magnum for 60 minutes, and then had a 1 ounce of Czech Saaz at 5 minutes. And then my yeast was Global Imperial yeast, and had a good starter with that.
I've never heard of that. There's so many yeast companies now. You could just be making that up, and I have no idea.
That's the one that comes in a can, I think.
That's Imperial. Even they changed that.
Oh,
I
they
think.
did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
okay.
One question I had: do you know? Was it Weirmann's normal Pilsner, or was it one of their extra light Pilsners, or Bohemian?
It was. I don't. It's
why does that matter?
Because when I in my Vienna, because they were out one time at BSG, I normally use just their standard pills. I used the extra hell, their light Pilsner.
Yeah.
And it had an interesting honey sweetness.
Okay.
In there, very faint. Because I think I was maybe using a little bit more than 20%, maybe 25% of the Pilsner malt. And it had a bit of an interesting honey sweetness to it from the extra light Pilsner.
Okay.
So maybe try just using a standard Pils, if that was what happened here.
Yeah.
Okay. How about your yeast starter and fermentation and water adjustments? If you've done any of those.
So my I've got well water that's not real good.
Well.
So I use RO, and I treated it with 2 teaspoons of calcium chloride.
Mm-hmm. Is that enough? Do you guys think?
I'm sorry.
Just need a little calcium. Keep that.
Yeah, but for
those enzymes happy.
But RO water, just to add a little. Do you think he needed a little more? How do you think his water was, Brian? Was fine.
Well, I like using the calcium chloride. You wouldn't want to put a bunch of sulfates in there.
Right. Yeah.
You want to maybe enhance the sweetness. So yeah, I don't have any problems so far.
Okay.
That was all you did though, just a little calcium chloride.
Yeah, that was it. I checked the pH, and it was, the mash was right at 5.2, so it was exactly where I wanted it to be.
Good.
So.
And it depending on how you clarified it, you didn't seem like you had a flocculation issue, which would mean you'd had too little calcium.
Okay.
Yeah, you just cold crashed it. You didn't filter this, did you?
No, I didn't. One of the things that wasn't planned was my fermentation. I use a chest freezer, and chest freezer was broken, and so my first 24 hours, it started at 65 degrees fermentation. So it was going pretty good for the first. Once it hit the ground running.
Yeah. I didn't feel like I got any fruitiness in the nose, but I did feel I got a little something in the flavor that was just a little edge of a fruitiness, kind of stone fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of I steadily dropped it down to I let it go for about at 50 degrees for a couple weeks, and then I dropped it down to 45, and then ultimately 35 for 4 more weeks. So it's got a few weeks of aging in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice lagering.
Yeah, it's very, very smooth lager characteristics.
Well, how can we help Rich bump his score up a little bit, fellas?
Don't ship your beer to JP.
Right, yeah.
As if I can control the summertime.
Or put dry ice in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's kind of funny is just yesterday I got results from a regional competition I entered it in, and actually it got first in its class.
Very good.
Nice.
So it came in at 41.5. So I'm still wondering if that temperature just did throw something off.
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
So
I don't know.
one thing for me that I really noticed made a huge difference in my Vienna, that small amount of Carafa. I used Carafa 2 dehusked. Might help with the kind of astringent bitter characteristic that Brian and I are picking up on in the finish.
Okay.
One thing that I did is instead of removing that, or even if you don't want to change to the dehusked version, instead of mashing that in, just throwing it in during the sparge, and you still get the color, and you still get a small amount of the flavor, but you don't get anywhere near the same bittering characteristics that you would from that dark malt.
Okay, that's good.
What if you just took that Carafa and just set it like outside of the tubing that the beer is passing through?
That's right.
And like not even let the beer touch it? Would that help even better?
Then you would mark him down on appearance because the beer would be too light.
Too light, yeah. Sorry.
Rich,
I
go ahead.
I was thinking, the specialty malts I threw in my batch sparge.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a batch sparge on this, and so that's when I think I threw my Mellenweiden and my Carafa.
Sometimes I'll throw those in at the very end of a mash too, and then just sparge through them, and yeah.
I mean, then maybe switch to the dehusked version then if you're already doing that.
You can give that a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would really like to try this beer not heat stroked.
Yeah.
So maybe if you try it again or whatever, we can help you out with that. But do you have any questions for the guys, or are you pretty much well sorted out?
No, yeah, I'm well sorted out. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys your feedback.
Of course.
Nice job on the beer, and it definitely was at a disadvantage here with what happened there, but.
No, I mean I was more pleased with how it came out on your end than I expected. I was kind of bracing for something really bad. So.
What are you using to bottle? I mean, you've done a very good job keeping oxygen out. Obviously, is it you have a beer gun?
I fill it in my mouth and I spit it into the bottle.
Yeah, it was exactly. No, it was a beer gun.
Yeah,
it was Blickman beer gun. So
cool.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Purge those bottles. Yeah.
All right, Rich. We'll let you go, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much again.
Okay. Hey, thanks, you guys.
All right, man.
beer.
Talk to you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Very good.
Not too shabby.
An award-winning beer.
Here we go.
For sure.
We're going to take another break, and we're going to come back, and then we're going to get out of here. Hang tight.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
Hey, thanks for sticking around, everybody. There I am.
Hello.
I'm not very good at pushing buttons,
But you stuck around anyway.
but I stuck around anyway. All right, well, hey, man, thanks to Ken and thanks to Rich for sending in beers. If you want to send in beers to this show, send your information to Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com, and he will respond to you far faster and far more kindlier than at me.
You are new
if you
to this
added me.
kindlierness.
Yeah,
don't think
well,
that's
right.
a word.
That well, it's not
Kindlier?
kindlierness.
Kinder.
Kindlier. I like my version better.
Okay.
Yeah, because it takes longer to say.
It suits you.
Thank you. Yeah. So anyway, do that, and we'll have your beers on the show. That'll be cool too. Some people, I'm not going to name any names. Well, I mean, I guess I will. I think this was from Kevin from last month's shows. Sent us some beer,
Yeah.
Oh.
some
we have a
commercial beer.
Pils.
So we're going to drink that. We should just open that right
Pilsner.
Yeah.
now. Fuck it.
It's a Pils from KC Beer Co.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. So I apologize for. What's up, Bev? You all right?
Oh no, I'm still broken from what I was telling you about earlier, and I just decided I needed a pen. I'm just talking to myself. It's cool.
Oh, okay.
We good.
All right. That's delicious.
Pilsner style.
Yeah. I apologize. I didn't bring this to have on the show, and I bet if it was Kevin, let's just pretend it
Nice
is.
little whiff of sulfur right off the
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
the bat there.
But he's like, JP probably kept it all for himself. That's pretty tasty. Who's it
not-
from again,
yeah.
Brian?
KC Beer Co. It's Kansas City. It's their Pilsner style golden lager. It's just called the Pils.
I mean, it's a little almost too suntan lotion for me, but I would sit there and order multiple pints of this. 100%,
Yeah.
95%. It's good.
Yeah. The sulfur is a bit strong in the aroma. Lucky it's not there in the flavor, but I definitely get the suntan lotion.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like it. Well, thanks, Kevin. And if it wasn't you, thanks anyway.
It's packed in May, so it's like right at its
Oh.
best by 9/2/19. So
That's held up pretty good.
it's
then.
held up very
Yeah.
well for
You know what I mean?
for being just a little past its
For being so
prime.
light, too, right?
No serious package defects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of package defects, I got to go to the bathroom.
Oh. Drop off a package.
I don't know. I don't really. I just felt like it was funny. All right, if you're listening live for whatever reason, stay tuned. We'll be right back with another episode of Dr. Homebrew. We're talking more Bell's clones like we did last month. That'll be a good time. And I think we have some commercially. I don't remember if we do. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. If you're not listening live for whatever reason, go find a different show to listen to on the Brewing Network. You have The Session, and you have Heads and Tails, which might actually drop an episode here at some point soon.
What?
Maybe.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see. But anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. And until next time, go kiss the guy behind you at the grocery store and just be kinder to one another. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's going to get you in jail. That
Maybe.
kind of kindness.
Or in love.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Hey, welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Homebrew.
Welcome.
I'm Jason. This is Brian. And a carryover from I don't know, from ancient times of hunter-gatherers is Warren.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Am I growing on you guys? Yet?
No.
They tried to kick him out, but he just wanted to stay as soon as he saw all these Bell's bottles.
That's true.
Once you let me in, and then you start pouring Bells, I'm not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. That's true. Yeah, this is the Bells show, right, Brian? What the hell's going on
the
here?
Bells show.
Talk to me. What's happening
They're
today?
just sending these kits flying out into the world. It's the Bell's official kits.
No.
You can get the official kit,
Yeah.
or you can get the official kilt, or you can get the Two-Hearted clone. They send you their Centennial House for that clone, the Bell's Two-Hearted.
That's right. I really want everyone to start writing in and asking Bells for kilts.
Yes.
Or skirts, as I call them, but I'm an asshole, so it's fine.
Right. You're Greek. You don't know better.
That's true. I don't know better. That's true. I would rather go naked and wrestle than wear a skirt and cut peat out of a bog.
Yeah. You guys like wearing olive branches on your head.
I love it, as a matter of fact.
Are you wearing one underneath your hat right now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. All right. We have a full studio, actually. We have, as a guest judge, it was actually supposed to be Matt's show, but Warren decided to co-opt it a little bit. We have Matt Sager from Danville Brewing Company. Matthew, how are you?
How's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Great, thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, thanks for coming all the way out here for to drink some homebrew.
He's a pro brewer and a beer judge.
Hell yeah, dude. And an average height guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Average all
So
around,
he's
I
slightly
guess.
more qualified than me then.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. And then we have the homebrewers du jour, John and Tim. What's going on, guys? Let me turn your microphones on. There you go. How's that?
I think you can hear us now.
Yeah, is that any better?
That's perfect. Tim, do me a favor. Pull that right to your face. There you go.
There. Eat the mic, yeah.
This is the sound of John's voice.
That's much better.
There we go. Nice work. All right, so you guys brewed the official Bell's Two-Hearted clones. And so what we're going to do is we're going to judge them as Bell's Two-Hearted clones, right? I mean, that's pretty much what we're going to do. We have some Two-Hearted as well, right, Brian?
Compliments of my friend Jeff, who was on a previous show, or 2 shows ago, I guess.
Okay.
With his Bell's clone.
So how do you want to do this, Brian? What's the best way to judge these beers? Should we do them first and then try the Bells afterwards as like an aperitif?
I just want to take one of these Two-Hearteds and just go out into the bar and pound it and then come back and grab the other one and
spit it out.
slowly sip it.
Okay.
But no, we've got clones of these beers, and it's a fun one to try to nail. It's best beer in America, a couple years running now. So in the Zymergy survey. So yeah,
Eked out Pliny again.
We were just looking at that before the first show. It's the #1 beer in America, which is weird because it's not even sold all over America. So how can it be the #1?
well,
Makes no sense.
Neither is Pliny.
Yeah, but I would wager that you can get Pliny more places than you can get Bell's Two-Hearted.
Oh, no way.
I don't
Really?
think so.
No.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
Bell's
know
is-
who to look at. You guys are at opposite ends of the studio. I'm here.
You're wrong from all angles right
We're
now.
agreeing with each other, and we're just
surrounded.
hammering you with the truth here.
That's the dumbest
Both
thing I've ever heard
sides.
you say.
Bullshit.
And I've heard you say some dumb things.
God damn, I feel like I'm on a rocky boat right now. I'm swaying back and forth, swiveling at you guys. You think that you can get Bell's more than Pliny?
Yes.
It
Bell's is
depends on
almost-
the market. You can't get.
You
Bell's
live in
out
California.
here.
You don't see the rest of the country.
Well,
You don't get
yeah,
out much.
The only thing
No,
that matters is
but-
Northern California.
But
Yeah.
isn't Bell's more hyper regional than?
You're living
Russian
in
River?
one of the last 3 spots in the U.S. that doesn't get Bell's.
See, I don't know because I don't drink Pliny, I don't drink Bell's, so I don't give a
Right.
shit
But
either
you
way.
see Russian River around because you're
I
living in the
don't
Bay Area.
because I honestly, you know what? You would think that you would. I don't. I don't see Russian River at all. And I was at a beer bar the
Well,
other day
you
and
need
there
to
was no
shop-
Russian River.
You need to shop for beer at other places besides Safeway.
I
in order to
can't
see
because
Russian
they
River.
don't get they get the freshest beer, and that's saying a whole lot living out in the valley because nobody has fresh beer. I tried to go to Bevmo,
Uh-huh.
no, it's not. It's not. First of all, people were trying to charge me $12 for a 4-pack of Kolsch. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. There's
Whoa.
no way. Yeah,
What
multiple
Kolsch?
breweries,
Oh, multiple
more
breweries.
than one. The
Huh.
price point is $12 for a 4-pack. I'm like, no. First of all,
well,
4-pack? No, come on.
4
what are we
pints.
doing? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, craft is getting expensive.
I don't like it. So I was like, you know what? I'm I'm going to go back down to Sierra Nevada or to Safeway and buy myself a 12-pack
Yeah.
of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
I've seen it at Costco, 3 weeks old.
Sierra Nevada?
Yeah. I've bought it.
I
whole
can.
case.
The freshest I can find it is 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Go to Costco then.
God
I've seen
bless.
3 weeks.
God bless. All right. Well, anyway, I don't even know what we were
We're
arguing
going to
about.
Chico on Friday.
Bell's. It's a Bell's show.
Okay, it's a Bell's show. So, Brian, you still haven't answered me. What are we doing? Are we drinking the Bells first or what? Let's go.
I'm not going to answer you.
God damn it.
Let's open one of the Bells. Why not?
Are we?
That sounds like an answer.
Let's do this.
Okay,
This
let's
is
do
the
that.
Bells show.
All right, so let's open the Bells first. Let's figure out what we're doing.
Everybody gets a
We can
little
get a
bit.
good. So we have 2 bottles, right?
Get our baseline going. We got 2 bottles,
let's
so
do
we can
this
do the
first.
side by side later.
Do the beers, and then afterwards.
But no, so now only one of our beers is the Two-Hearted Clone, and the other one is the Bell's Official, which we also drank a lot of at Homebrew Con, and the Bell's guys were passing out like candy there.
What is that? So one is the Two-Hearted, the
One is
other
the
is called
Two-Hearted.
Bell's Official. What is
Official.
that?
It's the hazy IPA, JP.
No one told me that.
Oh.
No one told me that going into this.
I told
Bell's.
Bev, she knows.
And we were there, and it was very easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, all right.
Bell's even gave in at this point. That's too bad.
But I imagine it's a good representation of the style. I mean, Bell's makes amazing beers. The rare times that I've ever had their beers, they've been really good.
They don't mess around. Yeah,
No. All right. Well, this is
this is
a classic example, right, of an IPA. Is this a classic IPA or what is
This is
it?
a classic, a classic commercial style, commercial example of American IPA.
I mean,
It's got some hop, a little bit of hop haze to it. This is actually a little clearer than some of them I've had.
wow.
Yeah,
It's lost some of its hop character, is all I can say.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Still, for sure.
But being 3 months old, we were talking before the show that I don't understand how a beer that not everybody can get can be the number one beer. But this is a good beer. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it, even though it has 3 months on it. I mean, for an IPA, you definitely don't want that.
So, and these guys started out as home brewers too. Bell's, I'm reading from their site. Bell's founder and president Larry Bell began brewing his own beer in the late 1970s after working in a bakery in Kalamazoo.
Damn. So
Learning
you're using
about
bread yeast.
Yeast and fermentation,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Opened as a homebrew supply store, Kalamazoo Brewing Company.
And that's
in
how you do it.
1983.
Yeah.
And that's what later became Bell's Brewing.
Wow.
And now they're huge. I mean,
That's a cool
it's
story.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was so weird to find out they had kits, and they were selling
Yeah,
all this stuff. I thought they were literally just a brewery.
Yeah.
So
they
did
just-
I. I had
they
no
still
idea
have
they
this-
were affiliated with a homebrew shop or whatever. But
This is their store. Yeah,
Bell's General Store.
The Bell's General Store.
I like it.
Kalamazoo.
That's a nice little shirt. Yeah, this beer is this is a good beer. I sort of it's interesting because when we did, for example, like the hazy, when that guy shipped us out the I sort of feel like an asshole, like naming names, but the Heady Topper,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like 6 days old, and it was supposed to be the thing. And we're like, let's figure out what this style is. And I didn't get it. Every hazy beer I've ever had, I go, maybe I could sort of. There was one guy I think we had on the session that was like, okay, I can sort of get why people want,
Right.
like what people are going for.
If this is how they all were,
Mhm.
okay, fine, this can exist.
Like I sort of get it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get it with it's just an IPA. But drinking the Bells, it's like it is different. It's
Yeah.
not as heavy. It's not as aggressive. It's not. It's a sweeter, almost orangey
Yes.
citrus
Yeah.
flavor.
Listen.
Not a hop lemon citrus, but like an orange citrus in the flavor.
Yeah.
And I can
Yeah.
see why you would like this beer. It leans more towards, somewhat towards the classic end of the style, where it's not like just in your face, like massive hops up front. Like
Yeah.
These days to be an IPA and not think, that tastes kind of like a pale ale, even though it's 7% and it's got a pretty substantial hop nose.
Right.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a pale ale,
Yeah.
Some of that
and a half or something. But this leans more towards the classic end of both the kind of hops that are being used. It's all Centennial. It's got a nice, limey, citrusy, stone fruit kind of thing, a little bit.
Limey stone fruit.
Yeah.
Not like a British
Racist.
like.
And
Mostly lime, citrus, peel, little orange kind of, yeah.
And a
Mhm.
moderate malt backbone. Like it's not super dry like a West Coast
Right.
IPA. And it's not a caramely East Coast IPA either. Like
No.
they represented the geography very well. They kind of split the difference between East and West Coast with the malt bill.
You know, and for a beer to be groundbreaking, and I know it sounds like I'm shilling, and I'm not. I'm really just trying to describe it so then we can knock the homebrew harder, right? I'm trying to set the commercial beer up to then decimate, eviscerate the homebrew guys.
As you should.
Yeah, but don't tell them I said that. No. But for a beer to be sort of groundbreaking like this and become popular and then stay that popular despite brewing trends.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Right.
I get it.
I mean, smell this beer. I'm sipping a Founders, Mosaic Promise. It's a pale ale.
I only sniff craft beer.
Yeah. So this is
Got him.
Okay.
Rat.
It was out there, and John said it was good. He twisted my arm.
I'm sure
but the
what
hop
was your point?
is much more intense than the Bell's Two Hearted.
Yeah, what I like about it is everything seems to be understated.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
Yeah, it's real nice.
The balance is a lower, more understated kind of.
Yeah,
maybe a more sophisticated balance, I guess.
But the quality of Centennial they're using is mind blowing.
Oh man,
you don't see that anywhere else.
Unfortunately, it is way more.
Yeah.
Oh sure, yeah.
We should.
This is super muted from what I remember.
We should try to go there.
Kalamazoo.
Yeah. See if they'll let us go there.
Transport.
I've heard that it's a little bit like a Willy Wonka type situation.
No,
they
man.
might be opening
Dibs
up,
on being Augustus Gloop right there.
Right. They might be opening up more to tours and everything, but at least when I was living in Minnesota, they weren't super open.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I like it. I think we have a baseline, Brian, right?
Okay. Yeah, let's do some homebrew. What do you want to do first?
Well, we're going to take a break first, is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then we're going to come back. We'll talk about it at the break.
Did we mention our friends at 5 Star?
No. You know what? And I didn't even do that on the last show, so I apologize. Go to 5starchemicals.com. Learn all about the best and pretty much the only way to clean and sanitize your equipment. Do it now.
They're the best.
The PBW, the Star San 1-2 Punch-a-Rooney, dude. That'll get you right there.
Hell yeah.
I kegged up 2 beers last night, and there was plenty of Star San and PBW flying around my kitchen.
The Star San or his beer?
It'll clean you out.
I only trust Tarzan.
That's true. All right. Quick break, everybody. We'll be right back.
We do know a brewer that.
But I can't tell you that. And when
back to the examination.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Bell's Clone Show. I'm actually really excited about this. It's not too often that we get the clone and the actual commercial beer, so props to your friend, Jeff or whatever his name was. There you go. Good old Jeff.
I wanted to give a shout out to a listener that wrote to us, and actually sometimes when we're busy talking out of our ass on the show, we get things a little bit wrong, and it's not it's never perfect.
What did Warren do now?
No,
already.
This is my
It
first
was
night
Brian,
here.
fully Brian and I.
That's your last night.
Don't
can only
shoot the
hope.
messenger here, but
right.
our
What
friend
happened?
David Breyer writes in, and
Was that one word or was that
David Beyer.
Dave?
So I've heard you guys, I think both the Bryans, talk a couple of times about entering beers in the clone beer category. Since we're talking about cloning Bell's Two Hearted, I thought this was appropriate to bring up again. Section 34A of the BJCP guidelines. The focus has been generally entering a beer to see if it's cloned.
Yes. Yes.
And we talked about Bell's Two Hearted. I think we even judged it as a clone.
I believe you're right.
On the HomebrewCon show, one of the HomebrewCon shows.
Yeah.
However, the guidelines themselves actually note, if you read the preambles, and you have to be careful because there's different versions of the guidelines out there on apps that don't have these little preambles.
Okay.
But it says this style is intended for reproductions of specific commercial beers that aren't good representations of existing styles. So if a clone beer if it does fit another style, do not enter it here. So since Bell's Two Hearted is a classic commercial example of American IPA, you wouldn't want to enter it as a clone beer. That's more intended for beers that are kind of weird one-offs that just don't fit anywhere into the, it's a square peg that doesn't fit into any of the round holes that the BJCP declares as a style. And when you enter one of those two, you have to give kind of a general description of, a sensory description of the beer, or you have to list ingredients that are used in the beer and give the judges an idea, especially in case they're not familiar with that style. So, thanks.
But it seems really weird to have a clone style category if you don't have the beer next to it to determine. And then you can write your own sensory description of the beer that you're entering. That seems that you could just write your own medals, bro.
It tastes a lot like this.
Yeah, it tastes a lot. It tastes a lot like the beer that I have, which is very weird. So it should be a 50-point beer. I mean,
right? Gold, please.
Right now,
I don't know that. I don't know it's the category you're gonna get 50-point scores in very easily. Either way,
but you see the dilemma.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. But it does make sense to not enter it as a clone, but enter it as the style you're doing.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, who cares if you're trying a clone? Does that make sense? Is it an IPA
to clone,
or is it a pale ale? If it's a pale ale instead of an IPA that you made, it's not going to win in clone beer anyway because the beer you're trying to brew is an IPA, for example, Bell's, right? So if for some reason I screwed up and dropped half of the grain, I still wouldn't enter it as a clone beer because it's not an IPA anymore. I also forgot
none
what
of your
point I'm
IPAs
arguing.
are IPAs anymore.
No, all my IPAs
they're
are
all pale
porters.
ales now. Oh, they're all porters.
Well, that's very interesting, and I appreciate the
Thanks to
astute
David,
listener for calling you guys out. I don't have anything to say about it because I don't know shit.
No, he was real nice about it too. It was like, oh wow, yeah. I mean, I actually have the version of the app that I usually work from that doesn't have any of those preambles and the ramblings and the extra stuff in there. So
what is it? Just basically a header before the category that.
It's called
says what to expect from
34A clone beer, and I'm just reading from the dev site that has the style guidelines. Like this style is intended, and they're like, okay, and it's before you even get to overall impression, aroma, appearance, flavor, mouthfeel in there. So
it's just a general rundown of.
And some styles, have a little preamble, and others don't. But
all right, well, I like it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is. I had no idea. So you have to have two apps now.
Yeah, I should just bring a copy of the paper guidelines around with me, I guess.
What you should do really is just take a picture of every page and then put all those images into a folder, and then you can zoom in and out and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's drink a beer. Whose beer are we drinking first? All right.
We're going to drink
John's beer.
John is in my club, the Mad Zymergist, so I'm instantly going to give this beer 10 more points, I think, than... No,
But I'm
maybe
a
not.
multi-clubber, do I?
Oh, he's a dual club guy.
Oh, man.
Notice the hat.
That's true. It's a Doe's hat. Well, let's pour some beer while we talk about John's hat and clothing attire, please.
Okay.
Shall we do that?
Pour the beer.
Pour the beer.
Is it
Where's the
this
beer?
little
Let's go.
Baby growler here.
It is in the baby growler.
All right, perfect. So, John, have you done a clone beer before like this? I mean, I imagine you have. You've been a home brewer for a long time,
I've done
right?
multiple clone beers. This is the first clone beer that's a clone beer because
Mhm.
we're not only just dealing with somebody saying, "Oh, this is a representation of Bell's."
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a kit provided by Bell's with Bell's yeast, so it's a clone.
Sure, we can do that. Can I have my beer back? I gave you my glass and you poured some beer in it and then you kept it. Jerk.
That's me. Pass it down
Okay.
to,
And how long have you been brewing? A while.
yeah, I started brewing in my college dorm before the internet existed, so I
Nice.
ordered stuff through magazines. Yeah.
Magazine. Warren, is that like a Trump thing? Magazine?
Yeah. MAGA.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not familiar.
I wouldn't know. I live in California where we didn't vote for Trump.
That's true. No, nobody here did, and don't ever. Okay, well that's cool, man. I'm looking forward to drinking this. Do we all have some? No, Warren's still pouring. So, Brian, do me a favor. Start us off on this this clone of a clone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this all started at Homebrew Con. We're interviewing John Mallett and hanging out there, and you and Jeff were there, and they're like, "Hey, you guys want some kits to brew?" And
nice.
And they just sent them the kits, and then it turned into this. We've been working on a lot of clones here. We've had more Bell's clones lately than any other clone of anything.
Yeah.
So in John's beer here, we're judging it as a 21A American IPA. Help if I have the right sheet. I'm getting a pleasant citrusy kind of lime and orangey hop note at a medium-high level. Low bready and light toast-like malt notes. Some moderate fruity esters in there. Clean ale. No DMS or Dassel. It's low. A low smooth alcohol in there, just a little bit, and pretty inviting nose there. So, appearance-wise, deep golden colored beer, a low white head with mostly finer, creamy-looking bubbles that stick around fairly well, and I would say good clarity. There's a tiny bit of haze, not too much, hardly noticeable. You can see through it quite well. Flavor-wise, I'm getting a medium citrusy lime and light resiny hop alongside a fairly prominent maltiness in the flavor. And this is where it kind of takes a little left turn. It's a little bigger malt than I felt it was going to be when I smelled it in the nose. Finishes semi-sweet and some medium-low bitterness. Kind of just enough to balance, but not as much as some West Coast IPAs. It's actually pretty nice that is kind of restrained as well in this beer, and it is in the commercial example as well. It's not a big bitter bomb like some of the IPAs from the 90s. Like more IBUs, more better. So the malt is toast, light caramel. Still balanced to the hop. Clean ale fermentation. The hops and the malt linger into the aftertaste kind of together. The hops went out again. No DMS or acetaldehyde, nothing really bad going on here. It's good. So you could use a little more of the hop, or either that, or if you dried out the body, I think the hop might shine through a little more. I'll get more into the feedback there later, but I'm just trying to figure out why it's so malty and it's a little sweeter. I think just the finish of this beer is a little. It seems like it might not have attenuated as fully as it could have. So, mouthfeel wise, medium bodied, smooth and creamy, which is really nice. The carbonation is medium. It's right up to level. We actually have some other bottles that John gave me earlier that we're going to judge, and I tasted at our last Mad Zymergist Homebrew Club meeting, which he still belongs to. He hasn't fully switched over to Doe's. But we tasted that and was like, it was just a little undercarbonated. It wasn't pushing some of these nice hop flavors as much. And I like the more carbonated version better. So there's some faint, smooth alcohol warmth in here. You can taste it's probably a 7%-ish kind of beer. maybe high 6s. I don't know. Goes down nice and easy though. Overall impression, this is a pleasant drinking American IPA.
Yeah.
Somewhat on the sweeter side, also leaning more towards the kind of classic side of the style as appropriate, because it is a classic style, classic example that's being cloned here. So, but it should finish much drier, I would say. And then the hop character is going to pop a little better, and it's going to dry off your tongue, make you want that next sip. This isn't anywhere near like a barley wine sweetness or anything either. It's just okay. It's it's a good IPA, but
It's just a little needs a little tweak there,
didn't
right?
quite get there. So work on the yeast health and vitality. Use bigger, better starters. Maybe possibly a little more sugar to dry out the body a bit more. Although if it's a clone beer, you might not be able to adjust that. But it's a fine beer. Otherwise, I gave it a 36. I think it's a very good beer.
Excellent.
Generally within the parameters, and nice job brewing it.
All right. Matt.
Hi.
Hi, buddy.
I'm going to start off by saying this is the first time that I've ever had Two-Hearted. So,
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Even I've had it before.
This was a clone recipe, so you still haven't had it.
Matt, you said Two-Hearted.
Oh, God.
Damn. Got him, dude.
Burn. So I wrote my notes before I tried the commercial version.
Okay.
So take that as I go through this. What I got on aroma, I have soft, almost honey-like malt presence, light graham cracker, almost sort of a lychee nut, honeydew melon fruitiness I'm getting out of this.
Lychee nut. Who is this guy?
He's the
Leeches.
cheesy
Yeah.
god.
He's got a
Yeah,
lychee nut
fun.
tree in his backyard.
Leeches have nuts?
I wish.
A little grassy for the hop character. Appearance, gold to light copper. Very slight haze, but the commercial version had that as well. Long-lasting, tight bubbles. In the flavor, I'm getting some grassy vegetal hop that pretty much dominates up front for me, with a very soft malt. Very low sort of whole wheat bready malt, maybe a little bread crust, light bitterness that lingers throughout. Nice balance. For the mouthfeel, it's medium body, creamy, like Brian had said. No astringency, light bitterness persists throughout. I would like for this beer to be a more bright and crisp. I'm wondering what the water profile was here. Maybe some more sulfates would bring that crispness out.
Christmas?
Crisp.
Man, I love Christmas.
Yeah.
I do.
It's coming around the corner.
If you could put some
Yeah.
lights on the pint glass.
I'm curious as to how long you kept those dry hops on, because it did seem a little vegetally. Let's see. Pronounced hop flavor. Yeah, that's about all I get. Other than I would like to have a more pronounced hop flavor in this, other than the sort of that grassy vegetal thing. I gave this a 31. It's a nice beer, balanced, but a little grassy. I didn't spit it out.
It's true.
What did you think about the
Everybody
finish?
was watching.
Did you already say finish wise?
Yeah, let's see. It's creamy. It's medium body. The finish kind of is a little sweet, and
Yeah.
it's hanging on my tongue a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we kind of agreed there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warren, are you up for the challenge, bro?
If he didn't like Matt's review, then he's not going to like mine.
-4.
Yeah.
I told you I had 10 points for any
Yeah.
Mad Z beer.
Yeah. I gave it a 000.
Damn.
Yeah, no.
Triple digits, dude.
Yeah, way to go. Other than what Matt and Brian have already said, I got a bit of even just like hop resin in the aroma, and a little bit of green tea type character. Like
Sure.
some tea character.
Yeah, I thought it was a little resiny.
And then the resin character even carried over into the mouthfeel. Like I got like a little kind of like oily, like hop oil kind of feel to it, which isn't necessarily bad in American IPA style.
Right.
But just made a note of that. Appearance was spot on. I got a little spiciness too, which Centennial can have. Spice. To me, the more herbal pine character of Centennial was coming out in this beer. A little bit of the vegetal character. So we'll see what you did with the dry hop. But yeah, it definitely reminded me of my favorite IPA in the U.S.,
which is
Bell's Two Hearted.
Oh wow,
yeah.
That's convenient for what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Actually.
So yeah, I unfortunately scored this a 29.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's not a sucky score.
It's not?
But
Oh.
it's not a score that I would.
Oh yeah, it says good here.
Like,
yeah.
get rewards on.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but fermentation and everything was good. I did get some of the honey malt character that Matt mentioned. It did seem a little bit sweeter than I mean, luckily we got to just try Bell's version.
Yeah, or else I would have no idea.
But it wasn't as caramely sweetness to me as the commercial version. It was more honey-like, more simple, just kind of sweet, like almost under attenuated maybe.
Yeah.
Type situation.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about your fermentation. I mean, let's get into that. It seems to be where everybody's sticking around.
Yes, let's talk about my beer because I've got a lot to say.
Okay.
Great.
Let's do it.
So and this was a wonderful, wonderful experiment. And thanks so much to the Bell's folks for hooking up with us in Rhode Island. We had a great time. So Jeff Bragg, another Mad Z member who was down in Santa Barbara, and I brewed this beer together. Not together, but far apart together. The interesting thing is, both of us, when we received our kits, the yeast is packed with ice packs and so forth, right? And it's house yeast. It's this very interesting house yeast, which I think I've got the name of it here. Imperial A62 Bell's House Yeast. Right?
Oh,
so
nice.
This is where
proprietary stuff.
It's so interesting because this is not just a clone; it's a clone.
Right.
It's the real thing. So we both got the yeast. We both said, "Oh my gosh, it was like 80 degrees when we got it from FedEx or UPS or whoever." I threw mine in the fridge. Jeff threw his in the fridge. He brewed his a week later. I brewed mine 3 weeks later. I made a starter. He didn't make a starter. And this is where it gets interesting, right? So I know this is under attenuated by far. Their numbers for the finishing gravity on this beer should be 10-10, 10-11, worst case scenario. Even with a starter, I could not get this to go below 10-15. Wow. Which was unusual, right? So I had this lovely starter. I'm on this great, beautiful Hichechi water that we get in San Ramon. We have great water. We don't have to doctor it much at all. Yet, I could not get this beer. I roused. I let it go for two weeks, 4 days, something like that. Not typical for a small beer like this. So it is malty. Now, personally, I love a malty IPA. This is right in my wheelhouse. I think this is delicious. The Centennial in this is very pronounced. And we tasted a 3-month-old bottle of Bell's. It's a little softer on the Centennial.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we tasted it in Rhode Island when it was fresh in those cans.
Okay.
Remember that? These were bright. They were
brighter,
super citrusy, and just lovely. So I think my hops hit it, but it's definitely on the malty side. And you guys all got that, which I think is great.
I like the resin and the citrus. To me, sometimes Centennial is kind of a limey character, and it just comes right through. It's nice and bright.
Yeah, and I checked my mash temp. Everything I hit my exact mash temp based on the recipe. All the ingredients they provided, milled those things fresh the night before, so the grain was super ready to go.
It didn't come milled. That's okay.
No,
cool.
These were all whole grains, and
great.
They were, however old they are, shipped directly to me for a 4-day shipping.
Yeah.
What
did
Jeff get his gravity down to? That's the secret question. He would not tell me. So I don't know if you guys remember how his tasted. Was it as malty, or did he get?
No, it was drier.
Which baffles me. Maybe he
doctored his water and it helped the yeast. I don't know.
Well, we also did taste it was from a growler that was already half full. It was already opened. So we had some carbonate. For me, it wasn't as carbonated as the commercial example. So would that have anything to do with it as well?
This one I
The homebrew, yeah.
try that one. So I
Out of the bottle? All right.
originally bottled, which is super undercarbonated.
Well, then why am I trying it? if we're proving a point that it was undercarbonated, why would I try? I'm not going to try it.
You
All right, I'll try it now.
It'll give you a great view into. That's the exact same beer, just a week earlier and undercarbonated. Nothing different.
Let me taste that one.
And it's a multi beverage.
It should accentuate the sweetness.
Yeah, I mean it's a little touch more carbonated, but it's still undercarbonated. So my point is still
the
that
bottle has more carbonation.
A touch.
Oh,
I think than the growler.
The growler I thought was like 10 times more carbon. Well, you guys decide.
It's been sitting here for.
That's what I mean.
30
It's been. I
minutes.
mean, we opened it before the show, and then we poured it on the show, so it was already sitting half open, anyways.
yeah.
And
It's
but
not doing it favors.
regardless, right? The question is, would more carbonation help the sweetness of this beer?
No, not this week.
Yeah, I think the bottled version is falling a little flat. It's
Yeah.
a little-
All right. Well,
lighter.
what conclusions did we come here?
John should never brew again.
Done.
I
Retired.
concur.
Yeah. Well, you think it was more of just a fermentation issue, John, because of the yeast.
It's a super unknown because
Yeah.
I made a starter. I know Jeff did not. If
Mhm.
he beat my gravity, I have no answer to that.
Okay.
Tell me about your water.
Tell me about your face.
Oh my God. I give up.
No, we've got Hichechi water is some of the best, cleanest.
Right.
It's middle of the
It's-
road, sulfate, calcium chloride. Everything is really nice in the middle. So I don't doctor much of anything. Only when I'm going to the bitterest stouts.
Yeah.
Or the softest, maybe like a Kolsch that I'm making, would I screw around with water?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your temp control situation?
It's all thermoelectric to a quarter of a degree.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I did everything by the numbers. It just didn't finish.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Hmm.
That's what I was just wondering because it dropped clear for the most part. So that's what I was wondering if maybe you had a temperature fluctuation and caused the yeast to just stop fermenting.
Yeah. I actually roused it in the second week. You know, as I'm waiting for this stuff to finish out, it just was the weirdest thing ever, especially with a starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your water doesn't have very many minerals in it at all.
No.
Do you add any to bring it up
I
to a
always
certain
put
level of calcium?
a good amount of yeast nutrient stuff in there, but I'm not doctoring the water.
Calcium. Where's your
Sulfates would help this,
Sulfates.
I think.
It would. It probably would. In this
Yeah.
particular one, yes.
Yeah, because the the actual 200 has a little bit of a kind of a toasty malt edge to it, and this it lacks the minerals, so the sweetness too with the finish a little bit sweeter too, comes across a little more kind of caramelly sweet.
Agreed.
So
Yeah, it's definitely a malt forward version.
I'm dropping your score by a point.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I was really nice to it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, good job, John.
I don't like to judge when people are sitting right next to me. That's what I told him earlier.
I don't blame you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to tackle the next beer. Hang on, it's Dr. Homebrew.
sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I have a hazy beer in my glass, and I don't know how to feel about it. But Tim is here, and he brewed this beer, right, Tim? What's up, man?
That's right. How's it going?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Doing well.
So this is a hazy beer kit that Bell's has as well. I assumed these were all Bell's Two Hearted, but this is, what is it called? Original?
Bell's Official.
Official.
It's their hazy,
Bell's Official
hazy IPA.
Hazy IPA. Tim, have you ever brewed one of these before?
I have. I've brewed
You have?
some.
Well, of course you have. You're a home brewer who is a craft beer guy. Who hasn't, right?
That's right.
All right. Do you like this style? Is it a good style for you?
I do like the
You
style.
enjoy
I've
it?
had several examples from the major breweries.
Get that mic
brew them.
right. Yeah, no,
So-
pull the mic to you. That'll be much more comfortable. There you go.
Much better.
Hell yeah, boy.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I've had the primary examples from places like Other Half, Treehouse, Trillium.
Okay.
So like those a lot, and I brewed a few of these. Had one go to the second round of NHC last year.
Nice. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's in my wheelhouse.
Okay. Perfect. And have you had the Bells
I have not.
official? Okay.
No, lots
All
of
right.
Two Hearted. Have not had the fish.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Has anybody here had it?
Yeah, we had a bunch of it at conference.
Oh, okay, good.
Did drink the bejesus out of it at conference.
It was good.
Okay, perfect. Well, Brian, go ahead and start us off again, since you're the you're my official.
Aw.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So the nose, pleasant fruity quality up front. It's a light tropical and stone fruit quality to it. Medium high esters, clean, very clean. No DMS, no diacetyl. Kind of a low backgroundy, clean, neutral, bready base malts in the background. Shouldn't be really heavy in there anyway. It's not exhibiting any big sweetness. Appearance-wise, it's a very pretty beer, actually. Really a light orangey yellow color and a moderate haze. It's not murky like some of you. It looks like chunks of flour floating around in your beer or something. It's not one of those hazies. It's seems like it's done right. Excellent head retention, fine, very fine bubbles, and some lacing on the glass. Really pretty beer. I gave it a 3 for appearance. Flavor-wise, I'm getting some nice pleasant hop aromas with notes of pineapple and guava. It comes out a little better in the flavor. The nose was maybe a little light. I would have liked a little more kind of juiciness in the nose, please. But for one of these, it's in the flavor, it comes out a little better. And it's soft though. It's nice. It's balanced to the hops. The malt is low and just kind of supporting, a little sweet and grainy, low and out of the way. Bitterness, but clean ale ferment. I couldn't really find anything to fault it with here, other than maybe a little more hop would be nice, but it's a good place where it is, and some of them do, understate a little bit. It's got a nice little fruity quality to it. Body-wise, or mouthfeel, it's medium-bodied, very, very smooth and creamy. I really actually liked the presentation of the, just how the beer presented itself. It's just a nice, creamy, smooth mouthfeel. There's no astringency whatsoever. Medium carbonation. No obvious warmth, but I'm sure there's some alcohol in there. It's just kind of middle of the road, just smooth alongside the other smoothness. So, overall impression, it's a very pleasant drinking New England IPA. We actually dug up the guidelines on the dev site. The BJCP has actually published a 21B specialty IPA guideline for New England IPA. If you search for it, you'll find it. And you're reading through this, there's a lot of what's there is there. It's just maybe a little bit more hop aroma and flavor in there would be nice. Can I say juiciness? But yeah, nice job overall. I thought it was excellent. I gave it a 38.
Wow.
I couldn't find a lot wrong with it. Just like a little more hop would bring it into 40s plus.
All right. Big numbers from Brian over here.
So I don't want to rain on Brian's parade.
I'm not having a parade.
But in order to prevent the emails that are about to be typed right now,
Okay.
the special dev description of New England IPA said both in flavor and mouthfeel that creaminess is a fault in this style.
Oh,
Creaminess is default.
Yeah, inappropriate and default.
Well, I'm thinking of creaminess as like smoothness, like the smooth, not like a creamy texture like cream in your mouth, but just smoothness. And I think of like I don't know, in my Jedi training, creaminess is the opposite of astringency almost. But
Okay.
in a way, I know it's not. So retrain me. I don't know.
Oh, you're the BJCP master. I'm just a professional brewer. I don't know what I'm supposed to be
You
doing.
know what you're doing.
I could just read. I just
I
read what's given to me.
Can you though?
I mean, I squint at it.
Well, Brian's going to look that up.
Let me see what it
Let's
is.
let Matt go with his scores,
might see
and
on
then
that part.
maybe we can reconvene. And during the break, I'm like, let's leave. Let's get this done. And then here comes
do it.
Warren. Go ahead, Matt, please.
Okay, so like the last one, I had Two Hearted for the first time tonight. I've never had this one commercially, but I don't get out very often. So, this was a really nice beer actually. The aroma I got a really nice grapefruit pithy peel note, a little grassy, not very tropical though. Very clean malt, very neutral fermentation character. Hop aroma that dissipates fairly quickly. Actually, I kind of have to search for it a little bit as it warms up. Appearance, beautiful beer, yellow hazy. It's not very milky, which I like. Long-lasting foam with nice tight bubbles. Flavors, very nice citrusy grapefruit peel. Little like underripe pineapple up front, leads into a creamy sort of oaty quality.
Creamy.
I know. I said it.
Uh-oh.
Very low bitterness, but that's the style. Malt flavor is sort of white bread-like, and a hop flavor that dissipates fairly quickly. Finishes real nice, dry and crisp in spite of the creamy mouthfeel. There's no astringency. Overall, it's a really nice beer with very neutral yeast character for style, actually. I'd love more fruity, tropical, juicy character. It's we read the style guidelines that it said overall impression should be massively hop flavored. I didn't find this at all to be massively hop flavored, as the guideline suggests, but it's very understated and really nice and crisp. I gave it a 37, so I really liked it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Warren.
Well, so now I don't know because of this creamy debacle.
So, in the sense of creamy that they're talking about is that it feels like cream in your mouth, or that it feels starchy or thick.
Okay.
And that I'm not getting, but I'm just saying like kind of creamy smooth. And I think maybe
Okay.
that's that sense you're tying.
All right.
I know these people at the BJCP. I could talk to them about and find out maybe their intent. This is also not an officially published guideline. This is just a proposed kind of placeholder for what they want.
Well, so my score reflects kind of docking for the creamy kind of heavy or mouthfeel that I was associating with actual creaminess. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
I
Well,
guess.
you can also adjust on the fly.
Oh, okay.
Sure, if you wanted to.
Sure. Then
Yeah.
Fine, I will.
You're not turning these in to be graded.
Oh, great.
But go ahead.
So I definitely noticed the smattering of tropical and citrus fruit character, but to me the aroma did stop short of the juicy moniker that the style has. But still pleasant. Got a little bit of like a honey malt character going on. And then the appearance was totally fine. To me, the head seemed a little quick to dissipate from what I would expect in this style. But I also thought the bitterness was a bit more assertive for what's average, which to me was preferable. I like when these tend to be more on the bit more bitter side.
Yeah.
For what average
There's
is.
nothing there to balance it.
Right.
Yeah. Then,
Yeah. So I enjoyed it, but to me, for the style, it seemed a bit aggressive. So all things considered, I would give it another 36. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
King
So
of the 36s over here.
With a new creamy definition,
All right.
I would bump it up to
IPA
36.
is going to be 25 to 60. So I think what they're saying is part of it is just in the introduction to the style. It's like you want to still make sure it's a drinkable IPA, and it's dry enough that it just goes down smooth, and you want another sip. It's not big and sweet and murky and like drinking a milkshake or something.
That sounds good.
It was smooth, that's for sure. But for me, this isn't my style, and so to me it just felt heavy, and so I associated that with creaminess. Not sweet heavy, but just thick.
All right.
Yeah.
You can talk. You have a microphone. Whispering doesn't really work very well.
No, I just want to add one thing. So this is John talking. When
John.
we were up in Rhode Island, one of the things we did was at club night. This is where all the local homebrew clubs in the New England area are out there with all their beers. I tried every hazy IPA I could, and I found I didn't like them as much as I thought I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the way we make
Kill that style.
the way we make hazy New England IPAs in Northern California, West Coast, has nothing to do with how they really should be. And I think they're very different. They're much drier, more bitter, more hop forward than I expected in New England, versus how ours are a little bit more juicy, much more fruit forward, much more creamy. Here we go again, the creamy thing.
Well, just soft.
It just was so different, and I said, maybe I don't know what a New England IPA is supposed to taste like because I'm not from there, and I'm not drinking those.
I got a brief education there, but it was eye-opening for sure.
And so I love this from a West Coast version of it standpoint, but very different.
Can we talk to Tim about how he?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, John's already had his segment. Like, we don't need. Tim, what's up, dude?
How's it going? This is super
What do you
interesting. From the bitterness perspective, I think first to address Warren's point, something interesting with this beer is that in the recipe, it's no bittering hops at all. It's 15-minute flame out, kind of whirlpool edition, and that's it. However, that being said, through the brew day, pump fell off the bench, broke, so I wasn't able to actually push it through my wort chiller, and I had to go with the immersion chiller. So the 15-minute hop stand turned out to be about 30 or 40 minutes.
I was going to guess a broken pump.
Potentially got a little more bitterness on there. I also had to lift a kettle with about 8 gallons of wort in it onto a table. In order to gravity feed it into the fermenter. So
nice.
It's a little physical challenge in addition to the brewing challenge. But, it was also 12 o'clock at night. Which,
well, we're almost getting there. So,
yeah, for sure. And then on the creaminess, I mean, I like I said, I brewed these before, and I try pretty hard to add a fair amount of calcium chloride into the water. So there's about 200 parts per million of calcium chloride, about 75 to 100 of sulfate, so it should come across as fuller body and have a little bit more of that mouthfeel to it.
Okay.
Accenting the sweetness rather than the bitterness.
Sure.
So,
well, those of you who've had this commercial style, what do you think? You think it's pretty close?
I was
pretty
8
good.
Years in at a conference, and from what I remember, it wasn't like the biggest, juiciest. It's like kind of like the balance is a little more understated, like the 200 ale is to regular IPA, to classic IPAs.
Yeah,
it's not like a hop bomb monster. It's just a good, clean, even balance, and it works, and it's smooth drinking. This is the same. The official was just a nice, smooth drinking hazy. I don't really seek the hazies out so much, but I kept a couple cans when they were.
Well, and the line was so long for the bills.
Yeah,
of course.
It was.
I love how crisp this finish is. I really do. It begs another sip.
Yeah, I mean, it finished at.
Yeah, surprisingly. Yeah.
Finished at 10:09. It's the same yeast that John used. It's the Bell's House yeast, which is actually really interesting because I think it points to the fact that it's not the yeast in suspension creating the haze. It's nothing like that. I mean, it's basically 40% Pilsner malt, 40% white wheat, and the rest flaked oats. That's it.
It's protein.
So wheat, no.
Interesting.
Protein, yeah.
How does the bitterness compare to the commercial example? Do they also?
It probably is a little bit more bitter, yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit more bitter. But I mean, the bitterness to me wasn't totally out of line. It can go up to 60 IBUs on this style, and you are getting, when you whirlpool, and sometimes they whirlpool the hell out of these beers, you get some bitterness there.
Yeah.
Same with dry hops. You'll get perceived bitterness out of dry hops.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is double dry hops.
They do 2 additions.
Oh, damn.
How many ounces do you remember?
I've got it here. It's not as much as you would think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not these big kind of 5
ounce
pounds per
editions
barrel kind of thing. It's pretty low.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A couple few ounces for 5 gallons or something.
Yeah, it's what about ounce and 2.5 ounces on the second dry hop, 1.5 on the first.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
And
Cool.
What's the hop? Is it all Centennial like?
No, it's
or is it?
it's Mosaic, Citra, El Dorado, and Asaka.
That's what I thought. It's more of the tropical, the more modern hops. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Makes sense.
I drove the fermentation a little higher. So I think on the package it said 68 to 72. I kept it at 72 until it was about 80% complete, and then bumped it up to like 75 and let it run from there. So that's
Dried it
probably
out
a little
nicely,
bit more of the ester profile you're getting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks guys for coming in, bringing these beers and making these kits.
Thanks,
Fun.
Bells.
Thanks to Bells for sure.
Thanks,
Oh, yeah.
Bells. Thanks, Bells.
Yeah, that was interesting, man, because it's neither style is anything that I drink normally. So I'm just lost here. I'm depending on you guys to tell me what's going on.
So different than your normal life.
It really is. What? But it was cool to, again, the commercial sample and to try these other styles from an iconic brewery. I think it was really cool. So
Have some fresh Bells.
thanks for to the Bells people for hooking us up with some of these kits. And thanks to you guys for listening. And if you want to be on this show and send in some homebrew, email Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com. And, if you want some more homebrew radio, check out all the other stuff we have on thebrewingnetwork.com. Otherwise,
we're looking for a few good beers.
There we go.